Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S back with another installment of more interviews, aka memoirs of our real experiences. And for today's interview, I am glad, grateful, and have the utmost respect for this individual as well as extended film, just in my particular case. A wonderful poet, wonderful person, as well as just a dope all-around individual. So I got my fam, my sister, Latter Day Poet, coming through for today's more interviews. But before we do, and I bring her in, if y'all have any questions or anything that you would like to share or learn about Latter Day Poet as she's in here, please put those questions down in the comments, as well as we're going to be talking about her book. So I'm going to give you all the links and places to go and find her, as well as follow her so that you can keep up on what she is doing. But with that being said, let me go ahead first. Let me hit it with the background real quick. But I am grateful. I'm honored. And thank you to everybody that is in here already. Da Poeta, good to see you in here. G29, as well as the guest, as well as the interviewee for today, Latter Day Poet. So I'm going to get you in here, fam, and let's get this interview going and starting right. I am the virus. Yo.
What up, bro? Yo, it's my internet
you
tripping.
know
You know how
what
that
area
is.
you in. You know what area you in. Was good. Good to see you on here. I'm glad I could finally get you on here, as well as let people get to know. And I'm here and get to see who you are. So with that, again, y'all, if y'all don't know, this is Latter Day Poet. Again, it's extended family right here. So I'm grateful to have her on here, so she speaks about not only the dope poetry does in the writing, but we got this new book that's been dropped too. So we're gonna be getting into that as the interview goes along. But before we get started, Ladder, do you have anything that you want to share with the people before we get started, as well as any questions or concerns for me?
The only thing I have to say is go buy my book. Other than that, no, nothing really. I'm just excited to see what questions we're about to talk about and just really get into this. These interviews are always interesting.
All right.
Really getting deep, so
y'all
I'm
heard
excited.
that? Yes.
Oh yeah, shout out to everybody that
Big
tuned
Flood
in.
in the
Thank
building.
you.
I see you. I
everybody.
See you. But yes, with that being said, before we start, how are you doing today?
Man, it's hot. Man, it's hot. It's been hot all day. Moving from AC, and my house doesn't have AC, so it's been hot.
Beautiful.
But other than that, though, I'm blessed. I'm doing good.
Oh,
especially after yesterday. Yesterday, I think gave me more energy to just be like up today because of everybody like coming in and all of that. You know, supporting you, showing up. That was good, and just like having homies come in and support me and Carlisha. Dope. So I think I'm gonna my energy is higher today. I'm gonna happier.
Well, there it is, y'all. And again, shouts out to everybody that's coming in right now. Thank you, Kundin. I see you in here. And again, if y'all have any questions that y'all like to ask Latter Day as we're going through, please put it down in the comments, because I got mines. But again, it's a live interview, so thank y'all for tuning in and being here with us. So to start the interview, first question I got for you. For those who know you or may not know you, it's their first time experiencing you, tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
All right.
You look, it's all what
not?
you want. It's all up for interpretation. Go for it.
Yeah, just turned 21 now. I'm in my late 20s. We're not gonna give a specific age. I just got my master's in public health back in May from SDSU. I'm born and raised in Pasadena, California. Ended up going to live in San Pedro / Long Beach for 2 years when I went to undergrad at Marymount, which is how you and I met. And then left from there, went to Laverne, got my bachelor's degree in liberal arts with concentration in biochem and English. And then in terms of like
Yes.
doing my art and my craft, honestly, I've been writing since I was 11. It started off as
Oh.
rhymes. I used to kick rhymes in the classroom and then throw them around as notes to my friends and stuff in the class. And sometimes it would be mainly about like the teachers. I would do punchlines, making fun of them. So a lot of them would be laughing like, "Oh, you crazy?" And then I got a little shy
Mm.
as I got older of like sharing my rhymes until I got to high
Mm.
school. And I was in a health academy at my high school, at Blair High School. And I don't know what it was. It was something that
Yeah.
happened with the class above us when I came in as a junior. The senior class did something and I got heated. So I wrote out like a diss rhyme and then I rapped it in front of my class. And everybody was like, "Hey, yo, that's dope. Like, you do this?" And I was just like, "Oh, I just put my rhymes together." And after that, I would just write rhymes until I finally got hooked on
Mm.
to Brave New Voices by Russell Simmons. And once I saw that, honestly, that like reshaped my whole perspective of like
Mm.
poetry slash rhymes. I went from doing rhymes to more of like spoken word because I was so influenced by, at the time they were just poets, and then they ended up becoming like a 4 or 5
Wow.
collective poet group called the Strivers Row, and they were part of Brave New Voices. And I was so inspired by them. Like, I literally was telling myself, like, when I get to college, I'm trying to be there. I want to be part of that group. Like, I want to do what I can when it came to poetry. But things ended up shifting, me doing my own thing. And then just from there, just elevating, taking my poetry to a whole new level, writing out my emotions. And then when I dropped
Yes.
my first book, Tales to the Top, that was just to get like a project out because a lot of my friends and family members were like, you're writing all these poems, but you don't have nothing to
Mm.
show for it. Like, when you gonna put a project out? So that's when I finally decided to do like the little zine, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just put that out there, see how it does. And honestly, I wasn't even expecting like the feedback that I
Yes.
got from it, how well it was received for that particular book. And then from there, I just kept doing poems. And then during the pandemic in 2020, one of my poems went semi-viral, which was for
Yeah.
Black Sun on a major
Mm.
poetry page called Infinite Poetry. And they had reshared it. And next thing you know, followers just start coming in. People start hitting me up like, "Oh, this is dope. This is really inspiring, this, that, and the third." And then I just started making connections like via social media. And people are like, "Oh, I want to do a collab here. I want to feature your poem here." And then from there, it just kind of like
Mm.
took off. So I'm not there yet, though. Of course, there's always, I'm still building, but it definitely
Okay.
changed though in 2020 for
So
sure.
see, yeah, y'all
Honestly.
got a bits of pieces as well as from the beginning all the way up until now. But we're gonna keep digging a little bit into the past a bit so that we can get some more grounding. So I know you said that you began really writing poetry, rhymes, and things and stuff. You said around 11, and having that in the schools. So
Right.
I want to ask you to give us a little bit more detail on that road of beginning, and if there was any besides the punchlines to the teachers, was there any other yeah.
Like, what inspired it? So
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. So I have an older sister and older brother. I'm the youngest. My sister is 36, and then my brother is 32. My sister had always been a she was into
Mm.
hip hop, but she was more like an R&B pop head. But she would listen to a lot of like rap stuff. Specifically at that time, she was like a Jay-Z, Rockefeller like person. And then listening to that
Yeah.
music growing up kind of like inspired me and influenced me. And then my brother, and I would probably say like
Yeah.
just being with my brother because we're 2 years apart and we're super close, his influence of music is what kind of like touched me in a way to like start writing rhymes. I just remember, honestly, my biggest influence of all
Okay.
is my favorite rapper is Jay-Z. But in terms of like really getting into writing, and it's gonna sound cliche, but it's so true, it's Tupac, no lie. And I think in sixth grade, when I really started listening to like Tupac's lyrics, it just resonated. And then I was just listening, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put some stuff down too
Yes.
on the paper. Let me just start writing down my emotions and feelings and whatever, and then just kind of played around with it. And then when teachers used to get upset, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm about to. When these teachers used to get on my nerve and I get upset, like, I'm about to just go ham on them and write it out like Tupac did. And that's really essentially how it started, though. It's really from like music
Mm.
that stemmed me to go in that direction
Mm.
of just writing out my
Again,
my rhymes.
honestly, and thank you for sharing that. And that's where a lot of artists, as well as just writers, will see those parallels between poetry and just music in general, just like just songwriting is literally, that's where they really go with hand in hand with each other, especially hip hop, of course, where a lot of that forms from. Is like basically it's poetry on a beat, from what I've heard a
Right.
number of people said before. But man, that's very dope. Man.
Yeah, seventh grade, just to add on to that really quick. So seventh grade, I used to have a homie who would make our mixtapes
Mm.
with the CDs. He would just burn them for like $5 or whatever. And he would be like, "Oh, tell me what you want. Like, I'll burn it." And I remember at the time, I was like, "Look, man, I just want you to put all Tupac. Like, I don't care. I didn't like,
Yeah.
even though I grew up knowing Tupac, I still didn't know his discography because, at that time, I was still young. And so by the time I was like 12, that's when I really started to get into like the lyrics of everything. So he burned me like 2 CDs of all Tupac songs. And I remember one whole weekend, I was just playing it on my CD player, heavy. And I was just like, "Oh, this is hidden. This
Yeah.
is just hidden." And I just remember going to like my comp book, writing out everything, like just writing, like, "Oh yeah, this." And then I had like a little karaoke
Oh
machine. And then I
wow.
was like, "Oh, let me get on here and record." Let me get on here and record. So I did like a little record, little horrible mixtape that nobody's ever gonna find in today's
Don't say
society.
that.
And I hope they never do.
Don't say that.
And I like played it back. And like when you first start off, you play it back and you're like, "Oh yeah, this fire." And then you
Yes.
think about it years later, you're like, "Nah, that was not it." But that's really how I got into it more, is when he started burning me those mixtapes and I would play them on my CD. Oh yeah, I was into it heavy. Like literally my
Mm.
whole seventh grade year, I was all
Mm.
Tupac. Like Tupac everything.
There it is. Feel me for sure. Uh, Going on that and get into some more memory lane type stuff. Can you give me and the audience one specific memory where you saw that your words and your rhymes impacted someone?
Man, yes, actually. When I was in high school and I was a senior actually, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, I want you to write me a poem." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I just wrote whatever like came to mind about her. I was just like, "All right, let me just put everything I know about her characteristics and her traits." And then when I gave it to her, she was like
Mm.
almost on the verge of tears, no cap. And she was just like, "This really hit home for me." And I was like, "For real?" I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah, like you captured everything that needed to be said." And she's like, "I appreciate it. I'm gonna hold on to it." I don't know
Yeah.
if she has. I haven't really talked to that person since high school, but hearing that impacted like, my writing for the first time. And then also too, like when I got to
Mm.
college, I used to do coffee houses, especially at Marymount. And then when Marymount had the coffee house that we did, after I think the second one, which is the one I did about the
Today's
mass shooting, which is now relevant even today still. But when I did that one, I'll never forget. It wasn't even somebody who went
yeah.
to the school, bro. It was like somebody who had a family member up there. And he literally came up to me after the coffee house and he was like, "Yo, I really needed to hear this." He was like, "My kid needs to hear this. Like, my kid gets bullied." And he's like, "I need to tell him about this poem." He's like, "Because sometimes I
Mm.
wonder, like, if he's going to snap like that on the kids that tease him." And I was just like, "Wow." And he was like, "Thank you for sharing this piece." So
Yes.
that at that point, I was like, "Okay, something's happening here. Like,
Mm.
my words are really like
Thank
touching
you for
people."
both of those experiences. And right now, just so you can see the energy that you put out, you have people in the comments giving you love, talking about really watching you. They're inspiring and just
I
letting you
appreciate
know
it.
that they're thankful for you and your inspiration.
Yeah, man. No, I'm having the people in here. I'm inspired by them on a daily. Definitely, especially Gowdy, bro. I haven't forgot
Mm.
about you, son.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Now, going even further back, if we can, you know, letting everyone know a little bit of who was Latter Day as a child. Mm-hmm.
Which
Latter
version
Day
you want?
as a child. So that's the wholeness. If you want to get the wholeness, this side, that side, the thug life side, the
As
Juilliard
a kid,
side, like whatever you want to give. Come on.
you know what? As a kid, honestly, okay, so as a kid, I've always been like an academic achiever person. That's always been me. So I always did well in school. I was always scared to get in trouble at school because I was raised
Yeah.
with, I had both a mom and a dad in my household. My dad was more lenient, and then my mom, she was a mom. She was a strong black woman, so she was more stricter. But I was always scared to get in trouble at school because I didn't want to get in trouble by her.
Yeah.
So at school, I would be on my best behavior, but at home, man, at home I was a hot mess. I used to get in trouble a lot for back talking. I stayed on punishment. If my cousin had an Instagram and she was on this live, she would tell you every time she came over, nobody could like. She'd be like, "Oh, can I come over?" Be like, "Yeah," and then we'd be like, "But we can't watch TV." She'd be like, "Why not?" I'm on punishment. We can't play video games. We can't listen to music. We can only go outside. So like at home, I definitely had a mouth. I'm still kind of a hothead, but I'm working on it.
Mm,
Definitely had a temper as a kid growing up for sure. But for the most part, I was a pretty happy kid. Really energetic. I think that's just part of a Sagittarius. We could be really energetic at times. But growing
yeah.
up, like just in my community, if you want to talk about Dina,
Mm,
I grew up on the west side of Dina. So on the west side of Dina, you got South Pasadena, East Pass, and then you got the west side of Dina. South
okay.
Pass is mainly more known as like the rich side of Dina, kind of upscale. East Pasadena is just like mid pass, like just like your regular middle class, whatever folks that you can find on the west side. But the west side of Dina, if anybody that's grown up over here, there's also what Pasadena doesn't show
Mm,
you is that there's still a lot of gang activity that's out here. It's a lot of still gang related stuff. And growing up, we were never affiliated with any
yeah.
gangs, thank God, because of the parents I had. But we were surrounded by gang culture. So there's been times like two, three times where I've been
Mm,
caught in crossfires as a kid growing up. One of them, my first one, is when me and my family were off of Washington Boulevard in Pasadena. There's a street called Washington and Fair Oaks, and we were kids in the car, and my mom was driving the car. I think at the time
yeah.
it was me, my brother, and my sister. It might have been me and my brother. And next, we had a stoplight, and they just two bloods get out. I think it might have been a crip. Pop, pop, shooting at one another. Like while everybody's in the cars. I just remember my mom telling us duck our heads down in the back seats to make sure we don't get hit. And then another one. I was young at
Yeah.
that time too. I had to at least been maybe like 6 or 7. And then another one when I was like 9 was at the Turkey Tussle.
Okay.
So there's two big rivals. There's Pasadena High, and then there's John Muir High School. Those are like the two
I've
rival high
seen
schools.
John
So they
Muir.
always
I've
have
passed John Muir a
a
number
big
of
game,
times,
which
but
is a
yeah.
Turkey Tussle. Yeah, and John Muir, it's come a long way, but from how it used to be, like it was where honestly a lot of like
Mm,
a lot of people that were gang affiliated went to Muir. Even my sister, when she went to Muir, that's when it kind of started. That was like back in '03 when because she graduated in '03, so around that time. But I remember we went to a turkey tussle and
yeah.
we were leaving, we were in the parking lot, and it was me, my mom, and my brother. And I just remember there was an altercation that got pulled out with some Bloods and some Crips, and they started going at it. And they shooting in the parking lot, people ducking down. And I just remember my mom having me and my brother's heads like we're ducked under a car, just waiting for it all to end and waiting for people to peel off. So it's we've
Yeah.
been around gang culture, but never gang affiliated. I definitely had homies who were in the gangs out here, cousins too. But growing up, seeing that, really changes your perspective in a lot of things. And I do got to thank my parents in the sense of
Mm,
them really keeping us grounded. I played a lot of basketball growing up, so I was a sports person too because of them. So my mom put me in baseball and basketball, and I think I did soccer for like a year. And my brother did baseball,
yeah.
basketball, and football. So we were in a lot of
Yeah.
sports too to kind of keep us off of the streets. And then we got into a lot of programs like education enrichment programs, all of that sort, just to kind of keep us
Mm.
level headed and away
Well
from all of it.
rounded to again. It just brings everything together. Like I said, I'm thankful for the balance. We got the thug life, like you said, a little bit up in there playing. I'm using the Tupac reference, but go ahead.
But it's and you know what, I really wanted to touch bases on that too, because now too with gentrification just in general, and
Yeah.
technically Pasadena is considered like a suburb, but I feel like it don't matter really what city you're at, there's always going to be a hood, like regardless. And they never really focus. Pasadena tries to shy away from that. They don't like to focus on like what's really happening out here. And I'm like, you can focus on the Rose Bowl all you want, the Rose Parade. I don't care how many like dollars you pay.
Mm,
At the end of the day, there's still people getting shot up here every summer, especially on the west side. There's still kids getting killed. There was a boy that got sprayed in his bedroom playing video games from a crossfire. literally in the comfort of his own house and got popped. So like, it's frustrating when everybody's like, oh, Pasadena's
Yeah.
not this, Pasadena's like that. No, because they don't show you that. But I guarantee you, you come spend
Yeah.
spend time on the real side, you'll see what it's really about.
Come through and seeing a mile in my shoes. And look, it said D was one of the most wisest persons I've met in my whole life. I've been through some tough stuff just like her. Hearing her words whenever I go through some ish, pardon my language, got me through some. You see it? It's real talk. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at everybody giving their testimonies right now. Met D in high school, and I'm thankful she's in my life. That's family. I agree with all of y'all, even though I came
Yeah.
later down the line, but I'm still grateful nonetheless. But with that, of knowing and gotten to get some of the childhood background to the mix of where you are now, which we're gonna continue on with it. Other thing I gotta know too, I don't think I've ever asked you, but I'm gonna ask you. Everybody know too. Is tell us the significance of your name. How'd you get it? People be like, oh, it's something like this,
All right.
and
So so there's two like meanings. Okay, so if anybody knows me, I'm sure all my friends can say I really be like on some philosophical shit when I want to be. So and also too, I'm very random. So one day I'll never forget it. It was on my spring break in college, and at the time, my mom and I were driving through LA, and we
Okay.
passed by the Latter-day Saints church, right? And I was like, that church is beautiful. Like that's the most beautiful church I've ever seen. It's in Century City out here. And I was like, man, that's such a beautiful church. And so I started thinking, I was like, Latter-day Poet. That's dope. But then
Yeah.
if I'm gonna choose a nickname, I also gotta think of relevance. So I'm like, let me try to figure out the relevance of this. And so I started thinking and I was like, well, one, I'm a believer in God. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm definitely a believer and a spiritual person. So I was like, okay, me, Latter Day Poet, yeah, that'll work. Me uplifting people. And then my brother also came and was like, also too, there was like a copyright issue. So apparently there's like a Mormon, or not a Mormon, or what is it? It might have been
Okay.
Mormon. There's another guy out there named Latter Day Poet, and it was
Yeah.
spelled as Latter, like Latter Day Saints. So when I saw that, of course I was like, damn, like somebody else got my name. And so I told my brother, I was like, I don't want to change it. So then
Yep.
my brother was like, all right, why don't we just change the spelling of it? He was like, and call it ladder. He was like, because you're constantly building and elevating, climbing to the top. And I was like, yo, that's hard. Let's do it. And that's when I changed it.
Got the assist from the bro, and that makes so much sense. I mean, honestly, when I that was one of the first things I thought of when I saw your name, how it was spelled. It had to have a reference of climbing up, and then I mean,
Right.
tails to the top. I mean, it's so much like,
Right.
look, I know I
Right.
keep looking this
Exactly.
way, y'all, because I'm like, yo, also I'm trying to see like, oh yeah, where did I put my book? Because then like I want to show y'all tails to the top too, which I've got to have that and say that.
I know, and I thought I don't got a
Yeah.
copy near me. It's in the
I mean,
house.
I do too.
I
I
got the
have
Q
I
files
keep
next
Q
to me,
files
but I
right
don't have a
next to me.
copy of it
You
near
know
me.
what? I think it's. Let me see. I'm gonna peek right here and see if it's right here, and then we gonna get this for sure.
Right. Nah, you good.
And I like how that fell. Hey y'all, we got to look at the randomness has come also to the interviews at first, but not honestly. No, I've also had an interview where I had all my lights go out just randomly for an interview. Randomly,
No, I can see that.
it
I can see that.
happens.
Technical difficulties are expected though, especially if it's anything virtual.
But
I'm like,
this is what I'm talking
it
about right
happens.
here. Tails to the top. This is the first one. Y'all gotta cop
Yeah.
this.
And that's my logo, which ironically
Mm,
my brother designed that too. And he did that in like 5 minutes. His brain is on another spectrum, I swear. And he was like, "Oh, you gonna need a logo for it?" And he like went in, spent like a good like 15 minutes, and he was like, "Bam,
wow.
it's done. Here you go. Do what you
Wow.
want."
Again, that's just dope. See, having a team or having someone there also to help and support and also bounce off ideas and just really grow with you, very, very, very helpful. My goodness.
Definitely
But yeah.
helpful.
Mm.
Yes.
So now we know how you got Latter Day Poet and how you got this switch. And Man, that's very dope. I
That's how
like
the
it.
name came to be. And I can avoid
Mix it
copyright
all in there.
issues.
Get it all in there. Good to go. Man.
Right.
But with that too, since we speaking on, you know, not only saying tails to the top, but you get into the top as you go through life and go through your experiences. Next question I got for you is, what obstacles did you face on your journey as a writer slash poet?
Man.
A
Um,
few.
a lot. Like just a lot of things. Yeah, a few. I know in my 10th grade year at I was at a school called Maranatha High School. I remember I wrote a poem about that. I have it somewhere too. I had a homie
Yeah.
and we weren't close, but we were cool. Like we always joked around with one another. And his name was John Chavez. We shared the exact same birthday. We were exact
Okay.
same grade, except he was like a year older. And he was just a goofy dude. Like he would always tease me, like, "Why you still on my birthday?" And I'm like, "Why you wearing the moccasins?" And we would just always go back and
Yeah.
forth. Really funny guy. Whenever we would see, we would talk, call it a day. Well, that summer of me going to the 11th grade, my homie John ended up passing away from a bad, tragic hiking accident. And you know, dealing with that, even to the news, the way the
Yeah.
news was broken to me, keep in mind we was only like 15 and 16, but like having to experience that and then like having to go to the services
Yeah.
and seeing the pain in his mom's eyes, which I'll never forget. One thing I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you, a mother's
Yeah.
pain at the loss of a child, mad real, mad real. No, can't even explain it. And I think like that time had like I wrote a poem about it, and then it like
Mm.
I stopped writing for a while after it. I think dealing with
Yeah.
at that age, I've lost a lot of people close to me, but at that age, I think dealing with someone
Yeah.
who like, was my age that I really knew
Mm.
kind of like affected me from writing. So I had like taken a break for a minute. And then got back into it, you know, my junior year, which is when I started really getting back into poetry and Brave New Voices came and the whole thing. But specifically like
Yeah.
obstacles, they're like dealing with deaths really like I
Mm.
can write about it, but then it blocks me. It somehow produces a writer's block because it's hard to really try to write about something when you're trying to like
Yeah.
deal with grieving at the same time. So that was one of the obstacles. Another obstacle in terms of writing was
Mm.
me really trying to get my material out there. When it's so competitive, specifically when I was trying to get like my first book published, it was hard. It was a lot of no's, and I don't know if Carlicia's still in here, but she'll tell you like with publishing companies, they're so I call it bougie, but it's like they're so specific on things, and they're really looking
Yeah.
for me. In my opinion, it's like they're looking for what makes a profit, which makes sense
Yes.
because you got to make money to make your publishing company go. But in my opinion, I'm like there's no such thing as bad like poetry or bad books because there's so many people in the world.
Yes.
Everybody's book and poetry caters to somebody's specific taste. So if you give everybody a chance, there's somebody out there who's gonna funk with it, like who's gonna deal with it heavy at the end of the day. But that had definitely been an obstacle. It's just trying to learn like, okay, how do I get my book out there? How do I do all of that?
Mm-hmm.
That's really me just trying to learn it on my own, and finally figuring out, with the help of Carlicia, like, publishing, self-publishing and going through Amazon. But honestly too, like that was an obstacle because as much as Amazon's dope,
Yep.
Amazon takes a percentage too of what you put on a book. So it's still like me, even now, there's still the obstacle of really trying to be independent
Yes.
publishing with me getting all of my royalties
With a
as they
middleman.
should be without having to split the
Mm-hmm.
profits. Um, right, exactly. So that's still like an ongoing obstacle that I'm still trying to maneuver around and figure that out. And I know eventually I'll get there. But other
Yeah.
obstacles, man, just dealing with life in general too. Just like,
Yeah.
money problems, being low, school. School played a big part of obstacle in my writing from 2012
Yeah.
to 2016. Honestly, going to Laverne, that was the most hardest, one of my
Mm.
most hardest phases of life. One, I was a bio major at the time, strictly bio, but at Laverne, their science department was not
Yeah.
set up for minorities to succeed. period. Everybody that I knew that was having issues were all black and brown folks, general. And I was like, this don't make sense. Like, how is it that all of us as minorities are dealing
Yeah.
with, you know, these issues within the science department? And I wasn't getting the help that I needed, and like that really had just stopped me from doing like poems. It just really put a writer's block on me, and at that point I started to feel like super depressed. Went into a bad depression mode because it was just a lot trying to maneuver in like this, you know, just education system that didn't want you to succeed in a field that you wanted to be in. So during that time, I remember my writing was, it was like, even when I go back and reread some of it, it just seemed all over the place. A lot of obstacles with it. Just like some of the stuff, I'm like, that don't even sound like me. Like, I don't even know who wrote that. Like, that sounds like a completely different person. And I think those poems will always be locked away, never shared, because some of that stuff got real dark too, to the point where I was like, nah, this is a point where I can't revisit that. So those obstacles of just dealing with like mental health and then physical health. You know, I also had like a surgery. I got my gallbladder removed in 2012. I had a bad kidney infection in like 2014 or 15. So dealing with a lot of that stuff played like a toll into writing, and just it's just hard to get your mindset back into
Yeah.
doing a craft when these things are coming at you. And usually people are like, well, that's when you tap into it. And it's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
tap into it, but you're not going to tap into it right then and there. That eventually comes after time because you got to heal both mentally and physically. So those were definitely some challenges and obstacles being a writer.
And now on the flip side, which again, thank you for sharing those. And I see you in there, Lonnie. Thank you for coming through. If y'all have questions, again, please, y'all can throw them in the comments. If y'all are intrigued and want to know more about Latter Day Poet, please put it down in the comments. But on the flip side to that question, from those obstacles so far, and more that will be coming, because that's just how life moves, like you said. Yes.
Man, life be throwing
What
them curveballs.
lessons did you learn from those obstacles that prepared you for the road ahead?
Man, definitely. You know what? Honestly, a lot of it comes from, first thing is first, and it probably sounds cliche, but honestly, it's not, because I feel like as you get older, you start to
Yeah.
understand this more.
Yes.
First thing is self love, for real. You gotta really dig deep into understanding self love, and I wrote about that in the Q Files. That's probably one of my favorite poems that I wrote about. And that one, hold on, because I have it on my notes. That one was,
So y'all take out your
which one
books and
was it?
turn to page 55. Okay.
It was
I just
study
passed
at
page.
page
All right, we
33.
on there. Let's
So
get it.
study, yeah. So on page 33, study, I feel like that's why I really talk
Mm,
about like self-love is a revolving door, because like I put in the beginning, and if I don't know if anybody has my book yet, but I'll just read the poem real quick. So on study, I put, I had to study my emotions in order for healing to set in, understanding the pain, hurt, and rejection to move forward with love, giving myself therapy sessions to make sense that I didn't dwell in perfection, letting my heart rest instead of always trying to give my best.
mm,
You have to hurt in order to heal. You have to experience in order to feel. I had to study my emotions, opening myself up to change in life, promising myself that it will be all right, specifically the deeper parts of me, loving consistently. So, literally, like digging deep in myself, why, you know, really sitting down thinking why I am the way that I am.
mm.
Why is it that I feel this way? How can I change this? Why is my mindset going? Like all of that really plays a big role into like overcoming
Yeah.
obstacles. And like I said, it's a revolving door, because self-love is, you're going to keep dealing with that every day of your life till you're 6 feet deep. It's something that you're never ever going to just get right away. It's
Yes.
something that you have to keep practicing to really love with yourself. So that was one of the main things that took me up from my
Yeah.
obstacles. And I'm still like, you know, I'm not perfect with it. It's, you can ask some of my homies in this group. They know, the homies that are in here know exactly that it's something that I'm practicing with every day. So that definitely was the main thing that picked me up.
Yeah.
Of course, like I said, for me, I'm a spiritual person,
Yeah.
so definitely my faith and love with God for sure. Definitely now, I think at the beginning of 2022, I really got more into like reading my Bible daily, reading scriptures for myself, and then just really
Mm,
like doing my morning prayers is what I do every morning before I get up and start my day. I try to do them
yeah.
at night, but life gets crazy, but definitely in the morning because I feel like I just got to
All
go
right,
out
Ephesians. All
protected
right, put on the armor of
spiritually.
God. Okay.
And definitely, right. That is true. And then, of course, definitely like the love from really good family members
Yeah.
and friends. Specifically, having that community of just people in your corner to really like uplift you and push you. Like my day ones, they'll tell you, man, like there's hella times where I'm like, trying to cleanse my self doubt,
Yes.
and to have them in my corner to push me and back me is a whole blessing, especially moving into adulthood. It's hard to have a group of really supportive friends you can call family because you can't find that. And then even my family alone, like my siblings, I love them to death because they also push me.
Yeah.
My brother is more of a tough love type of person, but I feel like you need that sometimes to help you like push forward. So definitely like community um, of like family and friends, self love, and then just really like really just
Mm-hmm.
really trying to motivate
Mm-hmm.
yourself every day that you can keep pushing. Just
Mm.
keep pushing.
I see why people are saying you got wise words, and the philosophy comes out and just lets you know. Because I wholeheartedly agree with you on a lot of those points of not only having the support, but yeah, it starts within. You got to start from self to be able to build upon self. Because at the end of the day,
Right.
and again, it's an analogy people use it a lot. If your cup is barely full or you don't even have much in your cup, how are you able to give to others if you don't have anything else to give? So you got to be able to be giving of yourself and really
Right.
give that loving that you need. I know that a lot of people in life is missing out on practicing that self-love, because once they do, they'll see how much beautiful things happen from it. Man, again,
Right. Exactly.
yeah,
I know,
I get,
we've been having
but
conversations
we
about
sharing it out right now
this
to the
all the
world so people
time.
see this memoir of
Right.
your real experience, so people learn more about you. You see what I did there. I was playing. Uh
Right.
but yeah,
Right.
you're getting
Right.
so much love from the community that you got in here right now. So just letting you know, all in the comments. And
I love
and then
everybody in
shots
here,
to
man.
Lonnie, because Lonnie
Everybody.
had
Thank
a
you.
question and you may have answered it, but just I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read it again. And Lonnie asked, what do you think for you
Yeah.
cured the dry spell or dry spells?
Yeah. That's a really good question. What cured the dry spells? I think just really like, just me just get into that focus
Mm,
of being inspired. So like when I do go through like dry spells, what I try to do is I'll go to like museums or I'll read, listen to music. I'll even look at like my friends' pages. Like I'll even listen to your music. Or I'll read some of my homies' poems. Like just stuff that like is inspiring and motivating to kind of pick me up out of that rut. And once I feel like I've been picked up out of that rut, that
mm.
pushes me forward to just keep pressing. And at that point, I get that click of that spark of inspiration. Then I'm back to the writing for it.
Thank you for sharing that. Yep.
It's hard though. It's hard though, Lonnie. It's hard. It's nothing that comes super easy. I wish I could say it did, but it's hard. I think for anybody that's a writer or a musician trying to get that
Mm.
motivation, it's
I agree.
difficult.
I agree. Is being able to find those outlets and know how to really utilize them, as well as sit with yourself. And honestly, like I can already see the first part, just honestly being
Right.
proud of yourself, of how far you've come, and know that there's going to be a lot more for you to grow on as you continue. Now, in line with from those dry
Right.
spells, and taking time to get the inspiration and to then move forward to come back in, what is your creative process? So how do you write, and what is your workflow when you do create?
Yes, that is a great question. So mainly music, first off. I need to listen to music, and that could be a range of things. One day I can be listening to R. Well, everybody knows if anybody knows me, I love R&B and hip hop, of course. But it could be from R&B, and then there's some days, dude,
Mm.
where I'll just switch straight to classical music. Like, my
You're
bad,
good.
my
You're
dog
good.
trying to come up in the live. uh, I can switch straight to classical music, and I'll be listening to like freaking not I don't want to say Mozart because that sounds too cliche,
Yeah.
but whoever does Claire de Lune,
Mm.
that's my ultimate favorite one. Period, hands down. In terms of like classical, I will listen to Claire de Lune on repeat like it just came out yesterday.
Yes.
Something about that really helps with my creativity. And then it could also range from like pop music, sometimes rock music, and then sometimes I'll just go listen
Yeah.
to spoken word pieces that people recorded over beats, and that inspires me too. There's one specifically that I like to listen to a lot called "Doing It Wrong"
Mm.
by Miles Hodges and Alicia Harris, and they actually, yeah, check it out. It's on
Deep
YouTube.
out.
They were part of the Strivers Row, that Core Five that I told you about that I love. They did this back in 2000. Was it 13 or 14? Whenever Drake came out with no, that was 2012, I think.
Okay.
Whenever Drake came out with "Take Care," the "Doing It Wrong" sample, they take that sample or whatever and they do their own poetry over it.
Mm.
But I guarantee you it's one of the best spoken word pieces that I've ever heard. So I listen to that a lot too when I want to write. And in terms of like my actual process, I do like to be
Yeah.
in a place where I can have some quiet. Where I live at right now in my living situation, it is a little packed. So if I can
Mm.
go somewhere, it's definitely going to be the beach to kind of clear my head. Or I'll post up in the car at a park
Yeah.
and I'll just play the music on my radio in my car and then
Okay.
just start writing. And I do write on my phone, but I'm such
Yeah.
a stationary person, so I'm still kind of old school. So I really like to have pen to paper.
Mm.
Something about it, I just feels more like authentic when
I'm
I'm
with
done.
you on that. I go back and forth a number of times with that. I will say as of late, because of my workspace, I do a lot more on the phone, but there's still nothing like that pen and pad, honestly. As well as with the books too. Like, there's nothing
Yeah,
like having the physical, like,
right.
of like it's
Like
there
feeling it.
versus on your phone just.
Right, exactly. And yeah, man, like I'll write on my phone too, like at night. So there's also some times where I get these creative sparks just out of nowhere, and you just get like words come. It's something I can't control. It's just it just touches. And I'll be laying like there on my phone at night scrolling, and bam, it'll just be like a whole stanza of poems. And I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
gotta write this. So then I'll put it on my phone real quick. And then it'll just be there. I'll save it for
Yeah.
later. Like I can come back to that, work on that, or
Man,
that could be something down the
that's
line.
that's dope. I'm see again, I like and I'm grateful that you sharing this too, because then people get to see all the different type of creative processes, workflows, and then people can try them out and see if it works for them or if it doesn't. But yeah, see, now I know it's like you get in the mode with multiple different things, music or even it's spoken word, wherever it may end up taking you. So,
Right, right. And then one more thing to add on to that I say that's helping out now too, along with, the whole creative process
mm,
is me getting back into fitness. Working out will also help because as I'm like jogging around the Rose Bowl or doing my exercise, not only am I helping with, stress, but then my head
mm,
goes into like poems. I'll just start like working out and then I just start rhyming like, like, oh yeah, like that's dope. Or yeah, that comes together. And then I'll go like pin it down when I get home.
boom, y'all. There it is. And thank you for sharing that. And of course, next,
Of
before
course.
we do get into talking about Q files, and y'all was wondering, like, that's what I pulled up right here. This is the physical of the book. I got the special, signature sign up in there too, y'all. Like, you want to make sure you get it, handwritten copy autographed by the one and only Latter Day Poet. But before we do that, I have a segment that I like to call Fun Questions. That y'all, it may not be fun to y'all, but it's fun for me when sharing and getting to people. So I want to move to this segment of fun questions. I have a few of them for you today. And this is not only limited to Latter Day, this is also all y'all that are in the comments. If y'all want to share your answers to these questions, you're more than welcome to, as well as those who going to watch this later, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. I see y'all back there. Y'all can share too. Do it. Yeah, please do. Please do. So
Yeah,
for the
join
segment
in,
of fun
join in.
questions, y'all. First thing is I always like to do a would you rather. That's just I randomly start with a would you rather. Some people just be like, I don't want to
Got
have
you.
a just this or that choice. But hey, this is all in the fun. That hence fun questions if it's fun for you. But the first one I got for
Got
you,
you.
would you rather? And I'll repeat it too if you want to catch it. Everybody catch it. Would you rather have a meal with all your inspirations slash favorite artists and people, but never be able to share that moment with the world? That's the first one. Or would you rather
Okay.
own a successful business that brings in millions of dollars a year, but you only get 4 hours of sleep and peace?
Nah, I'm
Mm,
definitely going with the first one. The only reason why, yes, a successful business, of course, with millions is always going to help bring
yes.
in, revenue, all of that. But sleep is essential. And if you ain't sleeping, you is tweaking. Cause because when you
Yes.
start tweaking, ain't nobody gonna want to mess with you. I would definitely take the first one. I don't gotta share that moment with nobody. Shoot, you put me in a room full of my inspirations, I'm taking that to heart, and I'm literally would take that to the grave with me
Yeah.
because what we talked
And you
about would be
never
what we talked
know
about.
that that first
Period.
one that you go to, that you create these connections that could end up. See, look at
Exactly what it could
everybody.
lead to.
Everybody is on it. I see y'all in there. The first one. The first one sounds better. Yes, sleep is important.
I knew T was gonna say sleep. If you know her, she love her sleep.
Then look at that's why I put caveats to these would you rather questions. And it sounds nice the first part, but just wait for the second half, and it's like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, now sleep, you need sleep.
yes.
Sleep is how you rest and restore your body and restore your brain. If you're not getting sleep, your
Yes,
brain is
but
not
I mean, in
functioning
this day
at
and age, in the
100%
world that we
capacity.
in, you have to be productive. You have to keep moving. You have to keep making the money, getting the bag and stuff. And that's one thing people are forgetting. That just like our
Right.
phones have to charge, just like any type of technology, even now your cars with your Teslas and everything else, and electric cars, everything needs some type of rest and charge. And guess what? For us, that's sleep. It's
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Always. That's
And
sleep. You gotta have
true
the sleep and
essentials,
water.
essentials. All right, next one I
Essentials.
got for you, and this is finish this line. So I'm gonna give you a half made sentence and then you finish it from there. So we show freestyling skills, however you want to end up
All
saying it,
right.
but whatever comes to mind, put it in there. We're gonna go with it. All right. So finish
Got
this
you.
line. The gift is inside.
Ooh. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. The gift is inside an aura of
Mm,
perspective.
try to get the philosophical meaning behind it, all the energies and the dimensions that have been hit into that one phrase. I'm just playing. No, I like that. It's very dope. You look it.
You're
Have some
killing me,
fun with
bro.
it. But I feel it. The gift is inside the aura of the perspective of perspective. Man,
Of
perspective. That's
perspective.
you went from the double inside. So you going on these extra layers right now. We having some inception with
We
all of
taking you
this
to
right
the
here. I'm loving
multiverse.
it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. That goes for y'all too. If y'all want to get answer this too, the finish the line is the gift is inside, and y'all go from there. But that was dope. I like it. See, look at you already know. Easy, easy.
I'm on my Doctor Strange, man. I'm on my
Mm,
Doctor Strange. We in the
see,
multiverse
you've
of
been here
madness.
too. You've been here before so long. You already just know. And let me see if I think if Gotti, okay, he ended up popping out. But I do have another question I saw in the beginning, but we'll get back to that one too before. But I got one last one for you when it comes to fun questions, and it's a two-parter. So we're gonna have the first part and then the second part, which
Okay.
honestly might end up being the question somebody put earlier. We was on the same wave. But so
Okay.
Before I even say this too, shouts out to Noah James for this. Basically, I'm just literally just parroting what Noah James does in some of his segments too. But this question, honestly, is a statement. I want you to share it out to folks. And you take your time with it. Tell us
Okay.
and tell yourself, since we talking about the inside of the auras and perspectives. So tell us and tell yourself 5 things that you love about you.
Hold on, I might have to write this.
Since we're getting on that self-love.
That I like about myself. Okay. I already got one
That's
off
what's up.
top for sure.
And again, as she's doing that, y'all can do the same thing. Write down 5 things that you love about yourself and say it to yourself. Say it with your chest, like Kevin Hart would say.
Mm-hmm. Dang, I'm really stuck on the last one here. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully this doesn't sound cocky.
All right.
Okay. So 5 things that I definitely do love about
Yes.
myself. If we're talking like characteristics. 1, I like that I'm honest. And I think if you ask any of my homies, they'll let you know I'm usually honest 100% of the time. It's honesty. 2,
That's what I'm
my
talking about.
goofiness. They know I'm always shooting jokes. 3, I would say my drive. It does get,
Yes.
there are times where things do fall off, but I feel like I still have drive to still be pushing
Yep.
through, even when I feel like really throwing in the towel. My loyalty, I really am loyal to those that really
1,000%.
want me around. I feel like I give,
Yes.
I put in what they put out to me in terms of like having me around.
Yes.
And my creativeness, just doing different creative projects and different creative aspects. I would say I love that about me, that I like, that I can be like, yeah, I want to try this. Yeah, I'm down to try this, like in
Beautiful.
terms of a creative
So I know
aspect.
in there, so you said you got the loyalty, you got the goofiness, you got your creativeness, you got your honesty, and then you good. We hot.
My
It's
bad.
hot.
It's a
We hot.
mosquito
We
here,
hot
bro.
all up in here, y'all. So it's you are good. It is all good. As well as your drive. I love all 5 of those. And thank you for
Yeah,
sharing those. And just remember, that's what you love about yourself. If you ain't, I know you already know, but still, that's there for you.
definitely.
So you know that you love you in those 5 things and even more beyond that. Now, the second follow up to
Right.
that, which these questions they just fall the way that they do. I didn't even know we were gonna be talking a bit about self love, and I just wrote this stuff down. Like, just be knowing y'all. So the last one, and this is to share it out to other people, is what would you tell others that find it hard to show love to themselves?
That's a really good question. You know what? I think people need to know that, in order to show love to yourself, you really just have to get to know yourself. Like, really take that time to just take that, you know, and like I said, my friends will probably tell you, and I say it a lot. I started, I think, mentioning this term more, I think this year. And I usually tell them, like, people got to learn how to just vibe alone for a bit. And by vibe
Yeah.
alone, I don't mean like be alone forever. Like, don't have nobody. Like, that's never what I meant. I think you don't really get to know yourself. Like, you can't really establish
Yeah.
yourself if you don't spend the time really trying to get to know yourself. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking time to just know yourself, do stuff for yourself, do the things that make you happy, like do the things that you want to try something new, pick up on. That's getting to love yourself because you're doing something
Yes.
that's making yourself happy and proud. And I feel like, sometimes that can get conflicted depending on like the people you can hang out with, the people you might be
Yeah.
seeing. Like there's a lot of that confliction. So when I say like people just gotta vibe alone for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
it don't mean to just like shut out anything for a bit. It just means like take that time to just kind of go deeper and just see what it is that you love to do, what makes you happy, what, just understand what that vibe is of
Yes.
loving yourself, like getting to know yourself. Once you do
The
that, you can start
difference
loving yourself
between
100%
being
off that.
lonely and learning from solitude is learning solitude so that you can become
Yes,
solid in your attitude about yourself. Flip it on y'all.
that.
That's what we do. We flip it on
Yes.
y'all. Again, you're
See, you
look
explained
at.
it. You
I'm with
explained it
you
better in
right
terms
here.
of
I just
terminology.
went. You threw
That.
me the alley oop. I dunked it. We good. We there together. But again, I
Yes.
I again I agree with you
Exactly.
wholeheartedly. Again, that's a gem, y'all. And exactly, Lonnie is saying, date your dang self. Please do. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Mm-hmm.
poetry to
Exactly.
our ears. It was
Yes.
poetic,
Literally.
period. Yes, that's how it goes. This is how it goes. You got a poet in the building, and you got somebody who just likes playing with words. Well, we both like playing with words, period. But that's just how it goes
Yeah.
in here. But man, I'm with it. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on this segment of fun questions. Again, hopefully they were fun for you, because it was fun for me, as well as
Oh yeah.
to
Nah.
all y'all too. If y'all didn't find it
Definitely.
fun, oh well, the questions are done now. So there's nothing else I can do about it. Go in solitude to figure out what you really need to be fun with, to have fun with yourself. Just don't feel lonely while
Right.
doing that.
That part.
Do what you got to do. All right,
Right.
now let's get back. Of course, I got the last few questions for the interview, and after that, we'll be done and out. And there is an option for you too if you want to share a piece again from the Q files, Tales to Top, wherever. We have that option to do it at the end. So just giving that heads up, as well as for everybody that's out there too. Please, if you don't know, again, this is Latter Day Poet, another dope individual. If you've not heard already, the gems has been dropped in here, and like, please go back through and follow her again. This is on Latter Day Poet on Instagram. And we got the Q files is on Amazon, as well as a few other different places. I'll do all of that later, but of course I'm gonna have her continue to just promote, put that in there because she's dope. So with that,
Thank you.
to the main again topic and portion of the interview is about this right here, the Q files. So with that, the first
Yes.
thing, tell us a bit about the Q files.
So the Q Files was a collection of poems that I wrote through the pandemic. Hey, thank you, Lonnie, for that follow. I'm about to hit you back after this live. Definitely got you. It was definitely a collection of poems I did through 2020. As we know, that year was a hell of a ride with everything that happened. And during that time, because of the lockdown, and
Yeah,
even though I wasn't really locked
essential
down because
worker.
I still had to go to work. Right. I think just dealing with all of that gave me the inspiration to really start getting back to writing. Really just penning everything that was happening from the protests to the Black Lives Matter movement to COVID, to people of mine that
Mm-hmm.
were close to me that passed before COVID. That year I lost my cousin to breast cancer. She had passed. And then right after that, Kobe
Mm,
passed on the day that her service was. I lost two friends, one friend to suicide, another friend to overdose. Um, so dealing with like the death, and then you got to deal with the government. You got to deal with a
yes.
full on virus that was out. Then you got to deal with celebrity passings, which, of course they're celebrities, but still you just see all these people like dying one after the next. Then there's like depression that you see from like homies and family members because people are stuck in the house, just like a whole plethora of different things. And me really being in 2020, really trying to just like tying
Yeah.
everybody's experience into my poems, including my own, but also still trying to keep that light during that year to really like we just got to keep pressing forward. Like we're
Yeah.
gonna get through this rough
Mm.
time. It's not gonna be like this forever.
And on top of being able to go through these experiences and really trying to pick apart and figure out, honestly, in your world and in your mind, what's going on. Um, why did you make this anyways? Like, you could have just kept all of this and just, just walked away with it and just kept it in the vaults of wherever else. Why did you make it necessary to put it out in book form or write it down?
Honestly, to let people know that they weren't alone and they weren't the only ones going through
Mm,
what everybody essentially was going through. I think there were a lot of people that were hesitant to talk about how they were feeling and what they were dealing with, until I really started to talk to like close people of mine and even homies on like social media that I like,
yeah.
met virtually but haven't really met in person, like really open up to me like, this is like what I'm dealing with and this is how I'm feeling. Like I got people like I'm laid off. I don't know I'm about to get my next meal. Um, people dealing with like addiction. I had a poet homie on IG who was like, look, I'm about to go
Mm,
take this oxy again. Like that's how I'm feeling. Like just dealing with that and me really trying to help people like, you know what, like I
yeah.
feel you, it's hard but you don't got to do this, like, and just using like my poems to help inspire, uplift, like you're not alone in this, we all are, we all together in this. It's trying times
Mm.
but we all in this together and pushing forward.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it
Hopefully that
answered
answered the
almost two
question.
of my questions I had. I think that's just how it be going, and I'm just glad that I'm able to pinpoint those things. On top of why we're making this, I could guesstimate because of how it just came out, but how long did it take you to come up with not only the idea of Q files, but then process, put it together, the whole package, etc.
So the artwork, so like, okay, for the art was already established because during also the pandemic, like I said, I like to do different, yeah, the back is what's crazy. I was doing different like creative things. So I was also like drawing on my iPad. I had just got
Mm-hmm.
was it the little Apple Pen, and I had started like drawing because I wanted to learn how to like draw. Eventually, I wanted to do a book cover for later on down the line, but I really just started playing around, and I drew this face. And my brother was like, "Yo, that face looks like somebody who's
Mm,
been through some shit." And I was like, "Dude, don't it? Like they just look like they're tired and out of it." And so that just me, I just drew it. Like it wasn't going to be used for a book cover. It was just artwork. And the poems, all the poems that
yeah.
I had written during 2020, it was all of those poems. There were some that were written on book, but most of the ones from
Yeah.
the pandemic were all on my phone, really. And I was just going through my collection on my phone, and I was like, dang, I really wrote all of these throughout the year. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put this into a book. Like, let me just go ahead and compile it, and maybe this could touch somebody down the line and hopefully inspire them, or they could relate to what the experience was. So I took it from the phone, put it into the Word document, started constructing the manuscript. Then, as I looked at the artwork, I said, you know what, this would be perfect for a book cover. And so my brother was like, "Oh, I
Mm,
could do the font for it." So he did the font for it. And once he did the font was dope. So I was like, "Oh, this looks legit." So he did the font for it, and then that's when I was like, "Okay, I got it all there on
yeah.
my manuscript." Of course, it needed to be edited. So that's when I was looking for editor. And that's when Carlicia was like, "Hey, like, I could do editing for you." And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." And honestly, she probably gonna be my editor
Mm,
for every book because well, let me tell you, she is a badass editor, and by badass editor, I mean she really be pushing me. Like she was pushing me to the point where I would get frustrated sometimes. And she'll tell you, like when we eventually started to do this and we were meeting
yeah.
on Zoom all the whole time, but we were dedicated to it. And she would tell me, she'll be like, okay, but what are you saying here? And I would tell like, Carlicia, I'm saying this. She's like, no, what are you saying? So I'll be like, man, we come back to that. And I would get like upset, but she'd be like, "It's okay, we
Yeah.
gonna come back to it, but we gonna finish it. Like we gonna get through it." And I'm happy she had that push and that mentality because it made me really like get into the mode of, oh, I see what you did there. When we re-edited things, and she would like, okay, now read it now, and I'm like, oh, that sounds so much better. And she's like, exactly, you gotta literally state what you're trying to write. So, um, after doing all the editing with her and then just putting it all together, I would probably say, yeah, like a year. Literally, I think like a year. I started it in 2020, and then I think towards the end of 2020, I knew I wanted to put them into a book, and then the editing started happening like at the beginning of 2021, and then school kind of got in the way, but we still tried to push through it, and then eventually we finished it like maybe like March. I want to say March, and then April was when I started to really like promote get the book together to be like, okay, now we can get ready to start pushing it to print and promoting it and whatnot.
Process, y'all.
It's a process, man. And even after we did the proofs, she, because we're always want to make sure our stuff is A1, but that's why I love her to death as an editor. She was like, nah, we got to go back and redo some more. We got to do some more edits on the book. She was like, my name's attached to this. So we went back in and did another edit, and then I resubmitted to the printing press to get the book out there.
There it is again, that community coming in. I'm with it. That's what's up. And we got another question in there. Speaking on the book is, how many poems are in that book?
Ooh, that is a great question. I think a total of, let me see. Let's look at the pages here. So there's 67 pages, but I don't think there's 67 poems. I want to shoot for maybe like around maybe 61. Around that, definitely in the early 60s of poems.
There you go, honey, right there. Roughly around 60 poems, if not in that range.
Right. And a lot of the poems are not like, there's some more in there that are longer, but a lot of them are like not super short, but like easy to get through.
Yes.
I wouldn't say easy, but like readable.
Nowadays or something. I even know Carly was talking about, who really read it? Like, the child was like, it's 10 pages for her book, and then it was like, who really read it? Yeah. Oh, making sure y'all can hear. We good? All right. Just make sure we good. I think we're on the final side. But I think you did answer it earlier, but I want to just bring it back up again so that to round out talking at least about the book and get into the last questions to be done. It is.
No, you good, man?
No,
I'm
good.
not. I don't got nothing else planned today.
You be like, hey, like a whole monster, bruh. Woo.
Is anybody else having difficulty hearing us?
Yeah. Let's know. Can you hear me now? Okay. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with the end. If you're sounding ridiculous, we over here sounding like Monsters Inc. and all this other different stuff, y'all let us know. But it might look it. Hopefully, yes.
Yes, we good, or nah, we breaking up, or yes, we straight, or nah, we not straight. Yes, we good. Thumbs up if we Gucci.
Yes, let's make sure, because
the thumbs down if it's not Gucci.
Because again, it's good now. Okay.
Okay.
I'll be like, oh
my
goodness.
All right, good looking.
Hey, but again, this is how all the live stuff goes too. So we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for again also still being here with us and just vibing out and listening and sharing not only questions but also your thoughts and love. So thank y'all so much.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. I see my day ones in here. I also saw Keith pop in here. Thank you. Just so you know, Keith is my director.
That was fire.
Who did my book trailer. Literally, I tell you, he is a sensei when it comes to the filming. If you ever need a dope video, Cal, literally link with this dude. I swear he's amazing. His crew is dope. He's a good dude, all good vibes. Keith
Definitely will tap in when I get my mind back into doing some video, music, whatever it may end up being. I got you. Yes.
Right. It's on Amazon. I need to establish a website. That's in the making. Trust me. I'm a little behind, but it's on Amazon. If you go to my link in my bio on IG, just click on the link tree, and then you'll see that it'll take you to Amazon for
Boom.
the book purchase for both of my
Right in there.
books.
See? And I'm gonna have you run that back too before the end so people will know as well. But speaking again of the Q
Got
files
you.
and just the whole overall experience, not only for yourself, but what you want to give to others, what is the main message, or we say messages, that you want your readers to get out of and know from this book?
I think the main message is I think I opened a note.
Mm-hmm.
I put like on my opening note, I had a little excerpt that said like, this was dedicated to really like all the lost lives that passed from COVID, to the lost lives that passed from the injustice, um, dealing with, police brutality, just systemic racism, injustices all over, and just dealing with COVID-19. I think the main
Mm.
message is that don't stop fighting for justice. Keep that movement going, because that's definitely still needed to today, even now more than ever, specifically even now for women, because they're trying to revert us back to like 50 years, telling us what to do with our bodies and stuff. So like injustice in every aspect, in terms of like women, in terms of like race, keep pushing for that narrative. And like even with just health, stay up to date on your health. Make sure that you're healthy. Make sure you're
Yes.
taking care of what you need to take care of. And even as me, as much as I'm still a believer in science, as you know, because I have a health background, and I'm always still gonna
Yes.
be a supporter of science, but I'm also a human. And so I would say,
I know.
even
I'm
in
like
that
literally. I'm
aspect,
sorry.
is that
Like,
fireworks
yo,
popping
my
off?
my neighborhood be doing the most at times. I was not
No,
planning on this fireworks, y'all. You
no,
know,
bro. No. I was like, yo, bro, if they popping, bro, you might want to get down on the.
full circle back from the thug life in the beginning to now. I'm just playing.
I was like, bro, it's just casually sitting there like, some gunshots
No,
going
that's
on.
fireworks. It's fireworks.
All right, bet. Nah, you good. Um, but like, even like I said, even with science, of course, still do research on everything. Because I'm a big believer in science and of my health background, but there's just certain things that you
Yes.
still gotta just check out for yourself. But definitely, like, really though, just keep fighting for what's right, keep pushing for what's right, and take care of your health, man. Like, I think the whole going into the new
Yes.
year of 2023, even 2022 start now, but we really got to
Yeah.
start getting healthier out here. Really got to start getting healthier. It's really important. I don't think people realize like a lot of the stuff that's like
Yeah.
affecting us health wise, out here. So that's really the narrative, and then just like inspiration. Find that time to just get inspired. Like, literally take that time to get inspired, take that time to discover who you are, love on yourself, and surround
Mm-hmm.
yourself with good people, man. That really goes a long way. That's really what I'm putting into the Q files. I think the Q files in the quarantine alone really made me reflect on like how blessed I am to really
Mm.
have the people I have in my life, man. To really sit back and be like, I couldn't
Yeah.
have some of the people I had in this life if I was somebody else. And I'm blessed for that. To also really sit back and really just like
Mm-hmm.
start to believe in myself more. Like, you could do these things. Like, you could now push these things. And I think I just learned even more yesterday, like,
Yes.
just being at Dina Day, just the vibe yesterday was just a great feeling. And I'm like, I could do this shit even more now. Like, I could really push this shit more. So just really
Yeah.
like believing in yourself. Like, Q Files talks about all of that, man. It really does. And there's definitely some uplifting poems in there for sure.
Mm.
Some good ones.
Rihanna said, "Let the church say the church day." I know she meant say, but let the church say, "Amen."
She funny. Yeah, no, yeah.
Got to. Man,
She
thank you for
funny.
sharing that. And again, y'all, if y'all want to, again, go check out Latter Day Poet on Instagram, and I'll have all the links and stuff later. And check out the Q files. Get your own copy so you can read in and get those words, get those nuggets of wisdom, the
Yes.
perspectives, as well as at the end, let the church say, "Amen." You
My
know.
book.
That back cover.
My
Yeah.
book, especially
Yeah.
that back cover
You're
though.
right
Look at
about
that.
that. Yeah. And them fingers with the hands. Oh my goodness. Look at that, y'all. Y'all see them? You see those fingers? I know it may be a little weird on y'all phones. I don't know how good y'all phones are, but yeah, you see it on the screens. But with that, I got again a few more questions for you, and then we'll be rounding out the interview. Want to give you, and I'm gonna do it again. Still, want to still give you your flowers. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for your time, your love, support, as well as
No,
inspiring.
thank you for
You
having me,
inspiring
man.
as well as me and all those that are here with not just your words, but also just with your character and the person who you are. So we're thankful for you.
I appreciate I appreciate that. That's love, man. That's mad love.
Hey,
Nah, man, you
full
inspire me on the
circle.
daily. The creative avenues you be taking. I'm like,
Yep.
okay, he out here. I
Gonna be
see him.
something
He doing
dropping
it.
in a couple of days, but again, it's not about me. This is about Latter Day right now. So yes. So
I'm ready
outside
though.
of
I'm ready
poetry and
for it.
writing and a lot of things that you do, what are some other hobbies and things that you do that bring you joy?
That's a good one. So definitely
Okay.
my guitar. I just started getting back into that. Playing my guitar. I love my guitar. Still have it with me daily. That's my baby. Um, Definitely playing the
Yeah.
guitar. It used to be skateboarding, but I haven't skateboarded in a minute. I need to get back into that too. After I busted my arm,
Mm,
sister had to take a step back, reevaluate life. uh, Biking. I love riding on my bike. I'm definitely a movie person. If anybody knows anything about me, I am a nerd when it comes to Marvel. So I am always at all the Marvel premieres. I'm gonna be at
okay.
that new Marvel premiere July 8th for Thor. You will catch me in there. So definitely like going to the movies, spending time with my family and my friends for sure. Um, Going out to like eat out at places. The beach, always gonna be
Yeah.
my main place to go, specifically in the summertime. Um, and just chilling, like really just like cruising, hop in the car, cruise somewhere, but not now because gas kind of expensive. But usually like, cruising by the coast, that's good. And then just doing creative things, really like going to museums. Still love doing that. I need to go visit. I think the Getty because they got an
Mm,
exhibition there that
I've
I'm
been
still
in a
trying to
minute.
see.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
it's been a hey man, if you
Her
trying to go, let me know for
photography.
real, for real.
Yes.
Oh yes, Bree said it. Yes, and taking my photos, even though Sean got the
Still
better
to this
camera.
day. Still to this day. Sean, look, much love to you, brother. We just met, but now I see what you mean, my man. I was playing. I'm just playing.
Sean knows now that he's part of the family, man. He's a part of the family. So I'm about to be like, Sean, I'm gonna need
Mm.
that camera. I'm gonna need your crew. But that's really it. Like, just like things like that, like creative things. I like doing that for fun.
Yeah.
I think it just keeps the brain going. Reading too, of course, lots of reading. I go to the Festival of Books every year and like buy at least
Mm.
$100 worth of
See,
books from all
support.
types of
You get the
authors.
support full circle, y'all. That's
Right.
what I'm talking about. Now, from the hobbies, so what you're trying to build, as well as people in here again, they're wishing you much success and much, love into the future and what it holds. A question that I have for you with that, and there's going to be one after that follows up with it too, is what's your ultimate goal
Okay.
with your passions? So, what is Latter Day Poets' ultimate, or honestly, just that goal that's up there right now to accomplish?
Honestly, okay, so one of my main goals is to change and inspire lives for real, for real. Like, I think
Yeah.
really saving a life goes a long way. Like, I had someone hit me up from, um, I think it
Mm.
was Iran, if I'm not mistaken. And I still need to send them a poetry book too. And I won't renege on that because that's my word to them. They literally hit me up and was like, look, I came across your poems and they have like changed my life. And they were like, where I live at, I live in like a strict security facility. They said like the soldiers won't let us leave. They have us locked down, and it's hard for me to like
Mm,
order stuff without them checking it. And they were like, but I really want a copy of your book, and I need to get it to them because they were like, your poems help me get through like the day. And hearing stuff like that from
yeah.
someone on the other side of the world, out of all the authors that are in this world, all the famous poets in this world, all the famous people that like drop books or
Yeah.
whatever, the motivational speaker, your TED Talk people, and you took the time to read my material and say that my material
Mm,
changed you or saved you, I can't even explain that feeling. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy to even be like, damn, my words really are
yes.
impactful. Like they're really changing lives out here. So my ultimate goal is to keep like, changing lives and inspiring. But a main goal that I've been wanting to do is establish my
Mm,
own publishing company. That's a goal of mine that I really want to do. And I really want to do it's for everybody, but
yeah.
specifically minority community. And like I said, it's hard for a lot of people to get published out here. As me and Carlicia had talked about it when we were like, we went through so many struggles because they're all like, oh, your book isn't what we're geared to, or your book doesn't fit this status quo of this, or you're not really
Yeah.
what we're looking for in terms of what you're writing. And I'm like, look, we have
Yeah.
people that have real life stories that are writing like from every aspect of like inner city community. And it's time for us to put that out there. Let's put it out there and get it out there. So if I could establish a publishing company that could do that for everybody,
All right.
we'd be good. We would be
Mm,
good.
there it is. Yep. It's gonna
You
have
would
a
see us at all the
festival,
book
books,
events.
the end of the day, all the other events that have to do with it. Just again, it's providing
Right.
a much needed service that you see that's in the community. And when you
Right.
see that need and you see that and you have that motivation and desire to put that out there, it's gonna happen. So sending that love to you, and of
Right.
course
Exactly.
that energy for you to make that a reality.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It will.
And
It's
to
gonna
follow
happen.
that up,
Watch.
since we're talking about a lot of future stuff, if possible, again, if you want to keep some stuff hidden and it's like, yeah, on the end, y'all, whatever it may be, share what's coming up next for you in the future for Latter Day Poet, if you can.
That is a great question. No, no, I'm really open about like, projects. So the main goal right now, like in terms of a creative aspect, the next project is gonna be, I think I already
Mm-hmm.
told you before, it's Unspoken Dreams. That's the baby. That's been worked on since 2010, bruh. Like this is going into
Yep.
like what 12? Is we 12 years? Yeah, 2000. I'm bad at math.
Science, baby.
2000,
Biology,
12 years.
bio, math ain't needed. I'm
Hey,
playing.
Chegg, course hero. Going into going into the new year, that's definitely gonna be something that's worked on. Is Unspoken Dreams, and as you know, for people that don't know, my homegirl T Perry Ebony, um, Ebony, she's a wizard when it comes to the art of like artwork. She's a wizard on that. So me and her already had this collaboration going from the beginning. So she already has artwork that we've already established, but she wants to add some new things, and we're gonna repolish some of the old stuff. And then I'm gonna keep some of those old poems that are already in there, and I'm gonna throw some new ones in there. So it
Yes.
kind of shows like
That
an
ladder.
evolving process over the year span. Exactly. Yes, that build. But Unspoken Dreams is definitely the next one in the works. And that one's gonna be it's
Ooh.
gonna be dope because this one's gonna have color to it. Like there's gonna be some art images in there. Yeah, it's gonna be fire. And I can't wait for y'all to hear my poem Dear Tupac, because that's when that one's gonna be him.
Mm.
But other than that, nothing else really like creative yet. But I'm sure some stuff is gonna come. I want to try to get another photo shoot going with my own camera, like rent out a space and then start flicking up and doing some stuff
Gotcha.
creatively and in
Right.
that aspect.
Two last questions for you. And then again, in doubt, if you want to share a passage, poem, however you want to, you could do that. You already know. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I got something.
Dear Q files was playing. So the next question I got for you, and I had it in the flyer. It's a two-part, so to break it up. First part I have for you, and spoke on it a bit, but again, just to ask, what are your thoughts on writing your development? So as in
Dumb
when
that
it
down for
comes
me.
to you just writing out what you've been going through as you've progressed through life, what do you think about the progression of just writing about your development? Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, from like where I started from, right? I definitely think I won't lie to you. I think like somewhere in between 2017 to 18,
Mm,
content was fire. Then I don't know what it was. I had a real creative spark going for sure. Like there's some poems that I got locked
yeah,
away that I wrote during that time in that time frame that I'm like I don't even know how I concocted this. This is wild. But it's definitely improved. I can say like when I first started out writing from the very beginning, it was more like it was still kind of geared more towards like rhyme. Like I rhyme in my poems, but more like rhymey
yeah,
on a rap scale, like a rap aesthetic type of ordeal. And then it kind of transitioned as I got older, started getting into my 20s to like actual poems and poetry. I think like around the 20s though, it was more just about like living life and turning it up, having fun, and I don't need no man. Like, of that instance. And now that
yes,
I'm like older, it's more about real things. Like, people that have been lost, dealing with trying to maneuver in
yeah,
a society where we're dealing with inflation and the economy is not doing too great. Dealing with
yeah,
health, dealing with mental health still. It's definitely evolving and changing as I'm getting older. You can see it. I can see it taking like a new direction, but it's good. I feel like it's kind of a new start to a new
yeah.
style of writing, a new era of writing that's gonna be coming. And that's why I can't wait when Spoken Dreams drop because it's gonna be like two
Mm,
eras combined, which you'll get my early years of me as a writer, and then you're gonna get my seasoned years now of me being a writer come
fire.
together.
And
I try.
now the
I
next
try.
one to the flip side of that is we're talking about writing your development. Again, another obstacle or a route on that road of finding that development. What are your thoughts on silence and doubt in connection to your life and those passions?
Man, I won't lie to you. It still gets hard. It still gets hard.
Mm,
That's something I think I'm always constantly working on is trying to silence the doubt within myself and really be more confident in who I am and like what I can do. Um, I would say though, when those times do start to come up, um, you know, I really just one pray and two, I talk to the homies. Like, there's everybody that
yeah,
I know that also pushes me. Like, all my homies push me, of course. But shout out to Tiana, man, because she really be like, she's one person that's like, look,
yeah,
bro, you could do this shit. I need you to really believe you could do this shit. Like, point blank, period. So having that circle of like people that really like push you helps a lot. And I think when it comes to just silence and doubt, like not
yeah,
only does it help to have that support, it also just helps to really just trust yourself to know like you could do this. Like you've
yes.
already gotten this far, you could go further. So really just digging deep
Hmm.
and knowing that you're worth it.
Thank you for that. And again, y'all, gems right there. And it's just that self growth, climbing up that ladder to show you all these tails at the top and continue to keep going. Mm.
Tails to the top. Tails to
Now,
the top.
for the last question, and again, I like to ask this question to everyone that comes on as an interview. So thank you again for your time and thank you for coming through and doing what you do. And I always going to
Of
say this too.
course.
Shouts out to the homegirl out in San Diego doing her thing. which is Busy Balboa. And this is how I got the idea for the question in general too. But when it comes to your passions, your life, relationships, anything that encompasses life and your experiences, is it the quality or the quantity? And why is that?
Quality. I would say the reason why quality, because it's like, okay, let me think of an analogy. Let's think. All right. Let's just say you get like a, I don't know, expensive
Mm-hmm.
as purse or something, right? Yeah, you could buy as many expensive as
Mm-hmm.
purses, but if the quality
Mm.
ain't great, it's a waste. So like in my aspect of like my life of who I surround myself with, the people that I am
Mm-hmm.
influenced by and inspired by, it's the quality of those people. It's the quality of what I'm looking for when I'm like even in the job market or whatever. It's the quality, not so much like the quantity. It's, is this gonna serve me? Not how many times can this
Yeah.
serve me? Is it serving me? Is it doing me
Mm-hmm.
well? Of that
Mm-hmm.
sort. If that makes sense of what I'm trying to
Again,
explain.
this is all up for interpretation. It's your interpretation. There is no right or wrong answer with any of this. This is learning someone other's perspective. Again, memoirs of our real experiences, and this is your experience. I can't dictate and say, nope, your experience is wrong. No. But
Right.
with that, those are all the questions that I have for you. I appreciate you again. Thank you for everybody that's been in here. I know it was,
Dope.
these get long, but thank y'all for riding with us and just sharing, giving your questions. But
Right. For
again,
sure.
this is
For
I like to
sure.
make this is a live document of each person that comes through of their experience. Again, I keep plugging it. It's memoirs of our real experience for a reason. Is that this is gonna be up, so y'all get to go back and share this, keep this, and hold it on, again, your particular case for your ladder, your way to the top. This is going to be one of those bumps up there towards you keep doing your thing. So I still send you nothing much but
Right.
love,
Right.
success, all of that.
Now I appreciate you, man. You my brother for life. So this is, thank you. I really do
Of course.
appreciate
And
you having
again,
me on
if
here.
y'all don't know, this is Latter Day Poet. Please go check her out on a lot of different things. We got Amazon, we got the Q Files, and in particular, if you're here on Instagram, go follow at Latter Day Poet, which is LADDERDEPOET. Look, I could have been in the spelling bee. I'm just playing. But again, that's Latter Day Poet.
Go ahead, Akila.
And don't forget to check out Q Files, which is out now to purchase. Please support. Again, yeah, run the book sales up because, again, this is super dope. You already know.
Thank you,
Yeah.
T. Run it up.
Yeah, Ja, you're going to have to go back and watch this because, unfortunately, yes, you came at the last minute, but just know, yeah, nah, it's not a
He
book.
said,
No, this
is
is a
that a book?
physical manifestation of life itself. That's what it is. But again, thank you so much for coming through. I know, again, it's an option for you to share a piece to roll out. But before we do that, is there any other things, again, that you'll like to share with those who are here that were listening, as well as plug all your stuff again?
Yes. First off, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's in here right now that tuned in. My day ones and my homies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I saw my aunt pop in here too. I don't know if she's still in here, but shout out to my aunt Lucy for popping in. It means a lot to have the support of the friends and family that I do have. So thank you. Yes, go ahead and run my books up on Amazon. So if you go to my bio and click on the Linktree link, it'll take you to both of my books on Amazon. There's Toast to the Top and the Q Files, which I just released this past weekend. So definitely cop that. Tune it out, look at it. Even my whole page, I got some stuff on there. And look at the book trailer too, because the book trailer was done by Keys. So fire. This has been great. Thank you for having
Yep.
me. I know we had talked about this for a minute, so to finally do it, it's good. It's happy that I was able
Told you
to
gonna
do
make it
this. It's
happen,
fun.
and I'm glad we did. We could have been. Especially it was today.
Oh yeah, and go
LA, of
Dodgers.
course, of course. But with that, It's your option. Go ahead, and if you want to share a piece or part, go ahead and do that, and then get it out.
I do. This is actually not in the Q files. The piece that I'm actually going to share was a piece that was written
Mm,
just because of what's recently happened. I just had to get
exclusive. That
something off
new.
my chest. You know, it is not anything at all to like, it's not like a shoot back at like F all men. It's not like that. It's just like, you'll see, you'll hear it. All right. My body is my temple and I nourish it daily. It's crazy to try and force a woman to have a baby. Eyes get hazy and be the first to call us lazy, but dare to ask how our mental state is lately. There is no congrats on our united bravery. In all honesty, this is modern day slavery. 9 months, swollen feet, nothing to eat, a product of poverty and wick with EBT. However, this baby still belongs to me. No one knows the backstory of what he did to me. Burn the Planned Parenthoods and leave it for extortion. No annual pap smear. All you see is abortion. Contraceptives are sick to the conservative eye. Then stop sexualizing women and zip up your fly. Laws against our freedom. What is America anyway? AR-15s are more vocal than what we have to say. You can't mute us when all we have is a voice. I've said it before, it's my body, my choice. You say you're pro-life, but you can't protect. Children were slaughtered and their parents you neglect.
Mm,
Political is hypocritical when the ballot exists. In a man's world, women are always misfits. You couldn't relate behind your lies and hate. Misogynistic excuses get thrown around in debates. But if your daughters were with child, you would lose it and go wild, then kill that baby in the
mm,
dark and fake it with a smile. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Stop the cap. It's time for payback. If you feel threatened by our wisdom, then go ahead and say that. Tired of projections and annoyed with the rules. It's
mm,
queens playing chess with a bunch of jester fools. The throne is for the taking, and justice will be served. We'll keep pushing back until we hit or strike a nerve. Democracy and despise will try to take us alive, but the fight in my heart is bolstered in overdrive. Plessy versus Ferguson, Olauda Equiano. I'm
mm.
built different. I'll pull up like the Sopranos. One nation under pain with the intention to fall. This land was built with blood and all of its flaws. To my sisters of the nation, uphold the proclamation. Keep setting the examples to curse the generations. I'm proud to be a dime, a woman that's so divine. We're all beautiful and leading the front lines. No need to shout it out or put it in the rhymes. My life is pro-choice. This body is
And
fully
it's
mine.
like that, y'all. Man. And I see you over here with your
Yeah,
your
that was on
body
my
language. I'm gonna pull up. All right,
bro. Pull
Don
up like the
DeMarco.
Sopranos.
Just be all of that. But I mean, jokes all aside, thank you for sharing that. And it again, very telling of especially what's feeling. A lot of folks is feeling right now with these decisions and the wickedness and the upside downness of what's going on with this world. But being able to put that to page and share that, you are definitely inspiring people to be inspired through your words.
Bruh. Man, I was gonna do a freestyle
Mm,
to Nas, but as soon as that stuff hit the news, I was like, nah, I gotta
mm.
get this off my chest real
Dang.
quick.
But with that, y'all, this has been another installment of more interviews, aka memoirs of our real experiences. Thank you again to Latter Day Poe for coming through, sharing wisdom, sharing the words, sharing her experience, and being able to again give us some quality word and just your presence. So thank you so much for that. As well as shouts out to all y'all that also came through and supported and watching. Also gonna be watching. This is important later. Yes, don't forget, go ahead, go out there and cop the Q files. Go follow Latter Day on social medias, all everywhere, especially if you're on Instagram, Latter Day Poet. And yes, I'll stop with all the promoting, but again, y'all just know just how
Thank
dope
you.
she is. But with that,
Thank you for
but with
everybody
that,
tuning
y'all,
in. Appreciate it.
thank you all for coming through, giving of your time and your support. And before you go, remember to continue to write your memoirs and your experiences so that you can keep growing and sharing your life. With that, we're out and we'll see you for the next more interviews. Peace. One love. We out.